Shaolin inspiration teaches us that discipline is not a chain that restricts us, but the very key that unlocks freedom. In the modern world, the word discipline often carries a heavy weight, associated with rules, punishment, or loss of pleasure. But when you look deeper, you realize discipline is not about denying yourself, it is about discovering your strength. It is the art of guiding your energy instead of wasting it, of directing your actions instead of being tossed around by impulses. This is why discipline, when truly understood, becomes the foundation of freedom. Think about how most people live. They are slaves to their cravings, to their emotions, to their thoughts. They wake up and follow their desires without awareness, pulled in one direction by hunger, in another by distraction, in another by fear. At the end of the day, they wonder why they feel empty, why they feel powerless. It is because without discipline, energy leaks away, inspiration fades because it is never sustained. Shaolin wisdom shows us another way. It says if you want to be free, first learn to master yourself. This mastery begins with small acts, waking up when you say you will, keeping your word, controlling your breath, moving with intention. These acts may seem simple, but they are powerful. Every time you choose discipline over laziness, focus over distraction, strength over weakness, you build a deeper trust with yourself. That trust fuels confidence, and that confidence fuels inspiration. You no longer doubt what you can do because you prove it to yourself through action day after day. Discipline is also the root of transformation. Without it, inspiration remains a spark that dies as quickly as it appears. With it, inspiration becomes a fire that grows stronger the more you feed it. The Shaolin understood this through their endless training. Hours of repetition, day after day, were not to punish themselves, but to sharpen their spirit. They knew that greatness does not appear suddenly, it is built from the discipline of consistency. And once you taste the power of discipline, you realize it is not a burden at all. It is fuel. The beauty of discipline is that it connects you to something higher. When you master your impulses, you create space for clarity. When you guide your actions, you align with purpose. When you train your body and mind, you begin to sense the harmony between them. You realize discipline is not about restriction, but about alignment. It connects you to your own potential, to your deeper self, to the life you are meant to live. Shaolin inspiration flows through this understanding. Discipline is not the enemy of freedom, it is the doorway to it. When you live with discipline, you are no longer chained by desires, fears, or distractions. You are free to create, free to grow, free to live with power and peace. The power of discipline. Shaolin inspiration shows us that true strength is not hidden in complexity, but revealed in simplicity. In the modern world, people are always searching for shortcuts, hacks, or complicated systems to improve themselves. They chase after new ideas, new techniques, always hoping the next thing will transform their lives. Yet the Shaolin path teaches something profoundly different. It is the simple practices, repeated with consistency, that bring true power. What looks ordinary to the impatient mind becomes extraordinary when carried out with focus and dedication. Consider the breath. Breathing is the most basic act of life. Something you do without thought from the moment you are born until the moment you leave this world. Yet, when approached with awareness, the breath becomes a doorway to strength, calm, and clarity. Shaolin training emphasizes this truth, that mastery is hidden in what is simple. A simple inhale and exhale, performed with focus, can calm the storm of the mind and anchor the spirit in balance. No complexity is needed, only presence. The same is true with movement. A single stance held with discipline builds endurance, power, and resilience. A simple repetition of a strike, performed thousands of times, transforms weakness into precision and mastery. This is the essence of Shaolin inspiration. Do not overlook the basics, for they contain everything you seek. While the world is chasing complexity, those who embrace simplicity quietly grow strong, steady, and unshakable. Simplicity also teaches patience. In a society addicted to speed and instant gratification, Shaolin wisdom reminds us that growth is slow, like the rising of the sun or the blooming of a flower. You cannot force it, but with simple, steady practice, It will come naturally. Every day you return to the basics. Every day you show up, you are planting seeds of strength. At first, the progress is invisible. But over time, you look back and realize how far you have come, not because of shortcuts, but because of simple, disciplined steps. There is also a quiet beauty in simplicity. It clears the noise of the mind. Instead of chasing too many paths, you walk one with clarity. Instead of drowning in endless choices, you focus on what truly matters. This focus allows your energy to concentrate, and where energy concentrates, growth multiplies. Complexity scatters energy, simplicity gathers it. And when energy gathers, transformation happens. The Shaolin monks embodied this in their daily lives. Their practices were not glamorous or complicated. They rose early, trained with devotion, ate simple food, meditated in silence, and repeated their forms until they became one with them. From the outside, it may have seemed monotonous, but within that simplicity was incredible power, physical, mental, and spiritual. When you understand this, you stop searching for the complicated and begin embracing the simple. You find strength not in what is new, but in what is essential. And that strength built on simplicity fuels and connects you to life itself. Strength through simplicity. Shaolin inspiration reminds us that the body and mind are not two separate entities, but one. Most of the time, people live as though they are divided. The body is pushed in one direction while the mind is running in another, and the result is stress, exhaustion, and imbalance. But the Shaolin path shows a different way of living, a way where the body and mind move together in harmony, where energy flows freely and obstacles lose their grip. When you experience this unity, you realize that true strength is not just physical and not just mental. It is the merging of both. Think about how often the body suffers because of the mind. Worries, doubts, and negative emotions drain energy and weaken vitality. Stress tightens muscles, anxiety disrupts breathing, and anger clouds clarity. In the same way, the body influences the mind. Poor posture can make you feel tired. Shallow breathing can make you feel anxious, and lack of movement can make your thoughts heavy and stagnant. The Shaolin understood this connection deeply. This is why their training has always been about uniting the body and mind through discipline, breath, and movement. A single exercise, performed with focus, becomes more than physical. It becomes a meditation. The body moves, but the mind is present with every step, every strike, every breath. This presence transforms the movement into something far greater than exercise. It becomes a practice of alignment. In that alignment, energy flows. When the body and mind move together, you feel lighter, more powerful, more alive. Obstacles that once felt overwhelming now seem manageable, not because the world has changed, but because you have changed. Harmony of body and mind also means harmony in daily life. When you walk with awareness. When you eat with intention. When you work, you bring your whole self into the task instead of letting the body act while the mind wanders elsewhere. This way of living reduces waste. No energy is lost in distraction. No effort is scattered across confusion. Everything moves in one direction, unified, clear, and strong. The Shaolin monks lived this unity every day. Their martial arts were not only for defense, but a tool to integrate body and mind. Through thousands of hours of repetition, they discovered that the true victory was not against an external opponent, but against the division within themselves. To master your body is to strengthen your mind. To discipline your mind is to empower your body. Together, they form a whole that is unshakable. In modern life, this teaching is more important than ever. People live split lives, multitasking endlessly, their bodies exhausted and their minds restless. Shaolin inspiration offers the antidote. Bring them back together. Train the body, calm the mind, breathe with awareness, move with presence. In this unity, you will find strength, peace, and resilience that no external force can take away. Harmony of body and mind. Shaolin inspiration shows us that one of the greatest powers in life is the ability to return to inner peace. In the world today, there is so much noise, distraction, and pressure that people often lose themselves in it. The phone is constantly buzzing, responsibilities pile up, and the mind races from one worry to another. In such a state, It becomes difficult to hear your own thoughts, let alone feel your own truth. But the wisdom of Shaolin reminds us that beyond the noise, there is always silence. And in that silence lies peace, clarity, and strength. Inner peace is not about escaping the world or avoiding responsibility. It is about carrying calmness within you no matter where you are. It means that even when the outside is chaotic, the inside remains steady. The Shaolin monks practiced this by balancing meditation with action. They trained intensely, but they also sat in stillness. They lived with simplicity so that their minds were not cluttered. This practice connected them to their center, the quiet space within that no noise could disturb. When you discover this peace, you realize that it does not depend on circumstances. You can be in a crowded place and still feel calm. You can be in the middle of challenges and still feel clarity. This is because peace is not something you find outside. It is something you uncover within. The more you connect with it, the more you carry it with you. It becomes your anchor in difficult times, your shield against stress, your guide when the path seems unclear. This connection to inner peace also changes how you relate to others. When you are calm, you no longer react to every provocation. You listen more deeply, speak more clearly, and act more wisely. People feel your presence because it is steady, and that steadiness inspires them. In a world where everyone is rushing, your calmness becomes a rare strength. It shows others that peace is possible, that one does not need to be controlled by stress or consumed by fear. The path to inner peace is simple but requires practice. Breathing with awareness, sitting in silence, moving with mindfulness. These are not complicated acts, yet they are powerful. Each practice takes you one step closer to yourself. Each practice clears away a layer of noise until you can hear the quiet voice within. And in that quiet voice, you find guidance, strength, and truth. Shaolin inspiration fuels us with this reminder: true strength is not only in the body or the mind, but in the ability to remain calm within. When you connect with inner peace, you are no longer shaken by the storms of life. You are steady, balanced, and whole. And from that place of peace, you can face anything. Connection to inner peace. Shaolin inspiration carries with it a reminder that the fuel we receive is not meant to remain locked inside of us. It is meant to be shared, to ripple outward, to strengthen and uplift others. True growth is never only about the self. When the Shaolin monks trained, they did not do so simply to protect themselves, but to live in service to their community, to their brothers, to something greater than their own individual lives. This is a lesson that still resonates today. The energy and clarity we cultivate within must extend beyond us if it is to have real meaning. Think about how often people pursue strength only for personal gain. They want success, recognition, or control, yet when these goals are reached, they often feel empty. Why? Because strength without service lacks depth. When you rise but keep everything for yourself, the inspiration soon fades. But when your growth begins to serve others, it transforms into something lasting. The simple act of helping someone, of guiding them, of inspiring them, ignites a different kind of fulfillment. It is the kind of fulfillment that never diminishes when shared, but multiplies. Shaolin wisdom is filled with this spirit of service. Every practice, every act of discipline, every drop of sweat shed in training is not only for the self, but for the collective. The strength of one monk became the strength of the group. The calmness cultivated in silence spread to others like a flame lighting another flame. Service was not an extra step on the path, it was the path itself. And in that path, the individual finds meaning. This principle applies to our lives as well. When you grow stronger in body and mind, use that strength to support someone else. When you find peace within, share it through your presence so others feel steadier too. When you discover clarity, use it to guide others who are still lost in confusion. Service does not always mean grand gestures. Sometimes it is as simple as listening, as offering encouragement, as showing patience in a moment where anger would have been easier. These small acts ripple further than you may ever realize. Living with service beyond self also shifts the way you see your own struggles. Challenges no longer feel like meaningless burdens. They become lessons, experiences that equip you to help others one day. Every hardship you endure becomes wisdom you can share. Every obstacle you overcome becomes inspiration for someone else who is still struggling. In this way, nothing is wasted. Even your pain has a purpose when it is transformed into guidance and support for others. Shaolin inspiration reminds us that the fuel we gather must connect, must spread, must uplift. To grow only for yourself is to build walls. To grow and then serve is to build bridges. And it is through these bridges that true connection is formed and inspiration continues to live on. Service beyond self. Shaolin inspiration teaches us one of the deepest truths of life. We are not separate. Every thought, every breath, every action connects us to something larger than ourselves. Modern living often convinces us of the opposite. It tells us we are isolated individuals fighting for our own survival, chasing our own goals. But when you look closer, when you quiet the noise and observe, you begin to see the invisible web that connects all life. This is where Shaolin wisdom becomes a mirror, showing us that unity is not an idea, but a reality we are part of in every moment. Consider the breath. The air you inhale has moved through trees, rivers, mountains, and countless living beings before reaching you. What sustains you in this moment is also sustaining all others. When you breathe out, you return it to the world, feeding it back into the cycle. Something so simple as breathing reveals the connection we all share. Nothing is truly yours alone. Everything moves in cycles, and you are part of that flow whether you are aware of it or not. The same truth is seen in energy. Your emotions are not contained only within you. When you are calm, others around you feel it. When you are tense, others sense it. Your state of being radiates outward, just as theirs does to you. In this way, every action, every choice contributes to the collective. The Shaolin monks lived with this awareness, training not only to strengthen themselves, but to raise the energy of the group, the temple, and beyond. They understood that the health of one is tied to the health of all. Living with unity also changes how you view relationships. Instead of seeing others as separate from you, you begin to see them as mirrors, reflecting back lessons, strengths, and weaknesses. Even those who challenge you or cause you pain are part of this greater connection, teaching you resilience, patience, and compassion. Unity does not mean everything is always peaceful, but it does mean everything has meaning. Each encounter is part of the larger fabric that shapes you and connects you to the whole. This realization also transforms the way you act in the world. You become more mindful of your choices because you know they ripple outward. The way you speak, the way you move, the way you treat even a stranger, it all matters. When you live selfishly, you tear at the threads of connection. When you live with awareness, you strengthen them. You become not only responsible for yourself, but a guardian of the collective harmony. Shaolin inspiration fuels us with this understanding our lives are woven together. No step is taken in isolation, no breath is lived alone. When you realize this truth, arrogance fades, separation dissolves, and compassion grows. You live not as one against the world, but as one with it. And in that unity, you find strength that is unshakable, unity with all life.